Hi everyone, welcome to this tutorial for Little Big Mining Log to use with Entropia Universe. I'm King of Aces and I'll be guiding you through how to set up the radar and the map within Little Big Mining Log. Now this video is current as of version 1.0.6.1 or September 7th, 2021 when this was recorded. Now MA does have a planned user interface update that will likely require some updates to Little Big Mining Log, so this tutorial will likely be partially out of date sometime in the future. Until then, here's how to use the radar and the map system within the program. Now the most basic way of using Little Big Mining Log is to use the chat log function to update your location on the map. This tutorial will assume you have a basic understanding of how the program works. To avoid other common issues that come up with troubleshooting, be sure to follow the guide on the Little Big Mining Log website, namely steps 1.1 through 1.6. A link to that guide will be in this video's description. Here's a quick demo of the base tracking function to make sure everyone is up to speed. To start off, we'll open the map window with the upper right button in the main Little Big Mining Log window. When you're ready to drop a probe, press the Update Location key. Many players still map this to the P key, though its default has recently changed. This then pulls your location from the chat log file and updates the location on the map. This is also the only way to update your position in PvP areas of the game where your radar does not display coordinates. Now this can get cumbersome always pressing a key to update your position, so you might forget to do that for each drop. Instead, the entire process can be automated in Little Big Mining Log without needing to use the chat log. To set up automatic radar tracking, first click File in the main window, then Settings, and then Auto. And then you'll follow the green highlighted text for guidance. In this case, make sure that the Position from Radar button is checked, though all three of these should ideally be checked as well. What the following process will do is teach Little Big Mining Log how to recognize where your radar is most anywhere on the screen. This is trickier because unlike other windows in-game, the radar can be different sizes and more difficult for Little Big Mining Log to recognize. This process is relatively simple though, since it only involves following these directions in the green text and eventually getting a screenshot that shows radar coordinates. Now I'm starting this video with Entropia in windowed mode, but we will get to how you can try this in full screen mode later. To start, follow step 1 and drag your radar so the top left corner of the radar is in the very top left of your game window. Once you have done that, click the Capture Sample button here. At this point, do not worry about the red indicator that is on the right side of this window. Now you should have an initial screenshot in the corner of your game window, and that will be used to help gauge the size of your radar. The white arrow at the very bottom of the right of your radar should be visible in this image. If it is not, you either need to move your radar or resize it. As with my radar, it does not need to fill the entire window, so just focus on that white arrow. Step 2 is clicking on that white arrow. Now we're zoomed in so you can see the individual pixels in the arrow. Step 3 is just clicking the pixel in the bottom right corner of that arrow we're zoomed in on. This can still be off by a pixel or two, so I can either click here or here and get similar results. Now this is the end goal of the process where the window reverts back to step 1, but now shows a screenshot of your longitude and latitude coordinates. If captured correctly, the formerly red indicator will turn green. If for some reason these coordinates are slightly offset vertically or partially cut off, move your radar slightly to adjust and repeat these steps. Once these steps are completed, you should be able to move around and your map will automatically move as well. So this initial setup in window mode becomes important when we move into how to set up Little Big Mining Log in full screen mode. Now technically Little Big Mining Log is not fully supported in full screen. This just means that there are a lot more potential unknown and untested factors that can occur, but I've usually been able to get full screen to work with Little Big Mining Log. Now full screen does let you have Entropia on one monitor and Little Big Mining Log on another, so I do suggest using full screen if it does work on your computer. As a side note, there have been issues lately when people use multiple monitors and not being able to scan deeds. It's still unknown exactly what is causing this, but it appears to happen mostly with people that have a different graphics card for each monitor. If you're running Entropia Universe and Little Big Mining Log on different monitors, it's best to have them both on the same graphics card. Now my radar is still in the upper left from last time, So I'll repeat the process and show why full screen is a little bit trickier. Steps 1 through 3 are the same as before. Now you can see in this case, the radar isn't showing the coordinates. Instead, it's showing roughly where the compass is, which is a little bit below where those coordinates should be showing up. In short, full screen screenshot positions are offset by a little bit, so we need to adjust for that and repeat steps 1 through 3. To do this, just keep slightly moving your radar down while keeping it on that left edge of the screen. So in this case, you can see just a little bit of the longitude and latitude coordinates, but we're not quite there yet. Now, usually what seems to work best for me, at least on my computer, is lining up the longitude and latitude roughly with that message center icon. After a few iterations, the indicator should be green and you won't see the coordinates being slightly cut off of the screenshot at the bottom or the top. If your auto radar setup is not working, this is the main thing to check during troubleshooting. If instead of the radar you're seeing a different part of the in-game screen that you can identify, move your radar to wherever that position is. To wrap up, you can now move your radar nearly anywhere on the in-game screen. Your radar should follow you along. Now, if at some point you ever work with a map and are panning or zooming around on it, the map may not move quite as much. You can see the position indicator will move, but the map won't track along with you, and you'll need to hit your position key again to reset that. However, if at any time after completing this you resize your radar, you'll need to repeat this process and essentially retrain Little Big Mining Log. Now, one issue that often comes up with the radar is due to its transparency. And when you look at the radar in game, you can see some of the background behind it, and that transparency can change depending if your mouse is over it or not. And what this does is it can interfere with Little Big Mining Log's ability to detect a difference between the white numbers of the longitude and latitude coordinates and whatever that background is. So especially if you're in a snowy area or anywhere that's bright, you could run into issues with your radar jumping around. There is no great way to address this in Little Big Mining Log, but you can help it along in-game by using a sticky note. Just open up your message center and select Sticky Note. I prefer to use green ones for this, but other colors might work too. Move it over to your radar, and then resize it so it mostly covers the radar. To keep the sticky note active after you log out, just add a single character like a hyphen that doesn't stand out too much. Now I left just a small sliver above the sticky note for where the radar still sticks out. That way I can click on the radar and bring that to the front. Now the sticky note is behind the radar and you have a more solid background that a Little Big Mining Log can use for contrast in the future. At this point, your radar auto tracking should work in nearly all environments, excluding certain PvP areas I mentioned earlier. The key thing with the auto radar is that each computer is different, so you'll need to test out what works best on your computer and get the coordinates properly captured if the guidance and the steps don't immediately work for you. If you're still having issues, be sure to check out either Little Big Mining Log's Discord or the forums, both listed on the website.